It all started off on an ordinary day until I woke up. You see, when I woke up, I heard this little tiny voice. I looked all around my room, but there was nobody there. And then on the floor, I saw this little tiny spider. And I knelt down and I listened. And this is what I heard. Hello, I'm Miranda. I'm a spider. Please don't step on me. And I didn't. I took good care of that spider. But then one day I decided what I was going to use this spider for. I was going to train it to create massive underwater spider webs to catch fish. Now, at first, I did have a problem. You see, spider webs are not strong enough or waterproof enough to catch fish. But after a little thinking, I devised a special diet for Miranda, consisting of ground up concrete and water sealer, and I mixed that all up and I fed that to Miranda, and with 3 months, her webs were as strong as concrete, as waterproof as water sealer, and still as flexible as spider webs. Yes, I took her out to the lake and I had herself tie herself to my fishing line and I cast her out. Splash. I waited half an hour and Miranda came walking up my line. I waited another half an hour. My line broke. Well, I didn't stop my idea of catching fish. The next time I went out, I was much smarter. I just backed my truck to the edge of the lake, had herself tie herself to my hitch of my truck, and I threw her out. And she went splash. And I waited an hour and she came crawling up her web. I waited another hour and my truck was barely able to haul those 2,000 pounds of fish out of the lake. And you know what? That's when the local wildlife and parks officer came walking in my direction. And he was not in a good mood. He said, "You realize you cannot use nets in the lake, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, of course I was not using a net." He said, "What's this?" I said, "A spider web." And I showed him Miranda. Well, I'm not sure if he bought that hook, line, and spider or not, but he did let me go. But he told me to never, ever use spider webs in the lake again, and I did not. But I knew I had a good idea. I asked Miranda if she could train other spiders to catch fish, and she said, "Sure." And she trained lots of spiders for me. I was now going to go into the business of selling fishing spiders. But people around where I live, they weren't buying it. Now, this was a good 30 years ago, and there wasn't a good way to sell spiders that could fish yet. And so I devised a system of hooking computers up together, and I named it the internet, which became known as the World Wide Web. And now you know why. Well, business was going great. I was selling spiders and spiders and spiders on the World Wide Web. But then one day, I could not find Miranda anywhere. I realized when she was napping, I had accidentally sold her. And so I waited a week and I got on the phone and I called up all of my customers. But you know what? I had sold Miranda to the wrong person. It was someone for the equal rights of insects and arachnids. And they claimed that the new diet I was feeding the spider was dangerous for them. And you know what? It was just 2 weeks later, the police arrived and they read me Miranda's rights. And they took me away to jail. Now in court, Miranda explained that the new diet didn't cause any problem and they let me go. But if you ever see a talking spider, I recommend that you just let the spider lie. Or, as Miranda would say, "What a tangled web we weep when telling stories that are oh so hard to believe.